Give you my heart.
Hey, Unlimited fam, Big Dave coming back at you with another Coach's Circle. I hope everybody's doing absolutely amazing. Today we have Farah Fancy, and she's coming to us all the way from Canada. And she's an excellent life coach, and we're going to talk about the type of life coaching she does, how she does it, her niche, as well as some things that she had to learn to overcome, as well as things that she kind of honed in as she got started with her coaching practice. So, Farah, welcome.
Hi there. Thank you so much for having me on today.
It's my pleasure.
My name is Farah Fancy, and you can call me a shift disturber, or you can call me a cultural stripper, or an artist doula, or a project fire starter, or you can just call me Farah.
You got a bunch of titles there. All right, so before we get way too deep, let's talk about some of the titles. Why so many titles? What do you do? Why do you do what you do?
The reason why is simply because these titles that people give to us are basically titles that other people put upon us, or else we create these titles for ourselves because we have certain expectations of ourselves to fit in a certain mold or a box that people put us into. And so I wanted to deconstruct that a little bit and create titles that spoke more about the intersectional parts of myself. So I'm a number of different things, including a mommy. And so I put all of these different things as a title to describe a little bit more about what I do. So just to give two examples, as a shift disturber, what I do as a life coach is help to shift people's mindsets so they can transition from point A to point B. Also, as a cultural stripper, what I do is I try to strip away some of that normative thinking that we have, all of that negative speak that we have inside of us, or again, those expectations that people put upon us that don't really align with who we are. So we strip off some of those cultures that people put on us to find out who we really are and look at them all on the table and then put back on what we really want to keep so that we can be our authentic selves.
Okay. I love the word authentic. It takes some work to become the authentic you. Some positive stuff, some dedication to yourself, and a lot of people are not going down the path of authenticity within themselves. And so I'm assuming that people come to you as a life coach or a cultural stripper, and say, look, like I have X, Y, and Z problem. And somehow, some way, I heard you can help me with that problem. So when I say X, Y, and Z, fill in the blank for me.
So typically people come to me because they are lacking productivity. And the reason why they're lacking productivity is they've already done that research, they've checked on the website, they can go through all kinds of other coaches. And even though they've got all these tips and tools on how to be more productive, they still have all these blockages and things that are stopping them from doing what they really want to do and living their life purpose. So what I do is I go back and think, okay, are you not being productive because really you're not aligned with who you're supposed to be? And so through that alignment, people can gain a better sense of how to be more productive so that they can live their life purpose. And part of how I do that is to help people gain resiliency so that they can remain their authentic self. Because when you have a clear idea of what your identity is, and that is so clear, nothing can get in the way of what you really want to do. And so this is why resiliency is so important, so that way we can live in communities that are for justice, that are empathetic, that are respectful, so that we as individuals, we can make social change. Because I believe that we each are fearless blossom leaders.
Okay, I agree 100%. I agree 100%. So you're helping people figure out who the heck they are and why they're who they are. So you're helping people define themselves and really kind of, I call it framing. I have videos on YouTube about framing, and so you're helping people frame themselves. So how long have you been helping people go through this path, this journey of framing themselves?
I've been doing this for about 25 years now. So it
Hey, you
started,
look like you're 25. What are you talking about?
I'm an old lady.
Ah,
I guess you can't see it on this YouTube video, but yeah, I've been doing this for about 25 years, and it happened sort of organically because actually I was working at a seniors residence for Orthodox Jews. And at the time, because this is in the early 90s, at the time there are still a number of Holocaust survivors.
oh,
And
wow.
so in that seniors residence, people were autonomous and they still felt like they had a lot of life left in them. And they needed to figure out what was the purpose of their lives now. But at the same time, we were dealing with some of their ethnography. So I would use the therapeutic techniques that I have been learning over time, as well as introducing their personal ethnography, where they come from, their roots, their heritage, their identity, their culture, what they like, et cetera, to help them find where they would like to go for the rest of their lives. And I would do this in a 360-degree manner. So that would include their spiritual goals, emotional, physical, mental, cognitive, also diversion, so that they really understood what the barriers were and also where they wanted to be. After that, I realized that I needed more training in therapy because working with Holocaust survivors is definitely something that has a lot of weight and there's a lot of responsibility. So I started doing a lot of training with social work techniques. I started meeting with therapists and psychologists. I helped co-found the Dance Movement Therapy Association in Canada. So I've been working more with the arts as well, and also working with Indigenous elders from around the world to learn different rituals and ceremonies, and also practices from different religions. And that carried me through to where I am today. So I started working with different people in organizations and institutions who wanted to make that change. And those leaders would then start to come to me and say, Farah, in order for us to make this institutional change and change these structures in our organizations and have us be more authentic and have us be more productive and have ourselves really get out there, we as individuals realize that we also need to do that work. And so they started to come to me to say, okay, Farah, can you help me out with that process so we can get where we really want to be as an individual, as well as for the community that we serve.
Geez, Father, you don't stop. 25 years, huh?
Yes,
It doesn't
more
seem
than
like
that now. Actually, can I share a short story with you?
please.
So I have started, like I said, in the seniors residence milieu. That's sort of where my career started. It went onward that like I said, I like the arts, I like to dance. I used to be a dance instructor, and people used to come for me, not necessarily because I was the best dance instructor in the world, but because they used to talk to me. I had a lot of people from actually the Department of Defense who would be my students. And after that, a number of things started to happen to me. And this helped inform my own personal resilience. So I've been through some things, like for example, this is a trigger warning actually, but I've been through rape before, I've been through gang violence, I've had like guns to my head in the past, I've had a hysterectomy, I've been through divorce, I've been through an earthquake where 70,000 people or more died around me. And I've also been through heart attacks to the point where I literally died on the table. For 22 seconds, I was dead and I've come back to life. And through all of that, that helped me gain the resiliency of where I am today. And so what I did is I decided, okay, I needed to take a break. And so from time to time, I go and travel. And what I did is I went to Costa Rica and I spent some time with the Bribri tribe who are down there. So they're closer to the Panama border. They still have their own religion. They still practice their own language. They still live the same ways as what they did in the past. And I was lucky enough to spend some time with an elder. And as a mom, I'm always curious and interested on how people discipline their children. And so I was interested that every time the kids would come into the room, he would ask the kids to say please and thank you for everything they asked for. But whenever the children came and asked for water, they didn't ask them to say please and thank you. So I was curious to know why. And the reason he said was that there are 3 different things in life that we have a human right to receive. The first one is water, so that makes sense. We all deserve water. The second is fire. Makes sense also, especially here in Canada, we need it also for warmth, not only for cooking. And the third that he told me is chilies. Can you imagine why he would say chilies?
Chilies. Why?
He said on all of the mesas in the houses in the Bribri community, so all of the tables, everybody has a little caja, a little container of chilies. They don't eat spicy food there, but they have it as a reminder that everybody has a right to sabor. So I believe you know what sabor is.
No, what's sabor?
Sabor is flavor in Spanish.
Oh, have a right to flavor.
Yes. That's their personal right, that you as a human being have a right to offer your own sabor to the rest of the world. And that's what makes you different from the animals, and it makes you different from the natural world. And if you're not offering your sabor, you are not really giving your personal gifts to the world and the community. And so when I heard this, I realized that this is my path, that this is really what I have to do in life, is help people find what their true sabor is, so that they can live their life purpose in a unique way to show their own personal gifts that shine through, so that they can really be productive in their life, feel good about what they do, feel balanced, without stress, without doubt, without feeling like an imposter, and also without shame, regardless of which culture or background or what you've been through. Because I've been through some stuff myself, so I can help guide people or offer people tools or make connections so that they can really go where they need to go.
Wow. I don't even know where to start with this. That awesome trip, great learning opportunity. Flavor. Wow. Okay. I think, in my personal opinion, I think some of the best life coaches, mentors, spiritual leaders are the ones that can truly empathize, the ones that can truly say, hey, I've been through what you're going through, and this is how I got through it. Maybe you need to find a different way, and that's okay, but at least we can draw upon that experience, and I can empathize with you as you're getting through your own way. And it sounds like you're really offering your knowledge, experience, expertise, love, empathy to people that need it, that really need it. Life is not easy, and we're fortunate to be born in societies or countries that have a pretty easy life, but everyone hasn't come from a pretty easy life, like your parents. For example, you shared with me yesterday. I don't know if you want to share that on screen or not, but where they're from. I'll let you talk.
Yeah, I mean, my parents are from the area now known as Pakistan. So my mom is pure Pathan on one side, and my dad is pure Khwaja. So I was born in the territory known as Canada, and I'm a bloodline breaker because I broke those 2 tribes. So I am an Indigenous person, but not an Indigenous person from North America. So the racism that exists around the world towards Indigenous people is dramatic, and it's unwarranted, it's unnecessary. But absolutely, everybody has their own level of privilege that they've received in their life. For example, all of the people who are watching today obviously have some privilege because they have the internet connection, they have a way to watch this video that's taking place right now. But we all have different ways in which we enter into the conversation and engage. And us as individuals, regardless of whether we're life coaches or if we're a salesperson or if we're collecting garbage on the street, we have to be able to engage in community. And the only way we can do that is to be just, to do it without harm, and to do it with empathy. So empathy is a skill that is not necessarily something that's so easy to teach, but at the same time, we can take those seeds that are inside us and help them to grow so that people can slowly start to realize how to be more empathetic, because it is a process. But there's also a confusion between empathy and sympathy. And if people don't know the difference between the two of those things, they won't actually know how to stop that negative self-talk or those blockages that happen within themselves, because they're not always empathetic to who they are as an individual. Sometimes you're empathetic to the other, but we have to be empathetic to the limitations we have as well. So that distinction between empathy and sympathy, for those of people who are interested in learning more about that, I highly recommend to watch the Brené Brown video on empathy versus sympathy. It's only 3 minutes. And if you've seen it before, watch it again, because like I said, it's a process. So we keep going deeper and deeper and deeper in the conversation to the point where hopefully we're living our life purpose. And even then, we start to transform, we change, we grow, because we've got more to share and more to offer. So just like way back in the time when I was working with those seniors, even at 80, 90, 101 years old, they're still talking about, okay, I still have time left. What are the things that are part of my purpose now? And where you are now is what's important, not where you are in the past or necessarily where you're going to. Where you are now determines your actions that you need to do to get to that future point.
Yeah, I'll make sure I'll put the link in the description of the video for everyone that's interested to see the differences between empathy and sympathy. I think that's really important. And you talk about self-love. You talk about really being self-reflective, to really empathize with your good, bad, and ugly, and acknowledge that, you know, maybe you've been through some stuff, but that doesn't define who you are today. You can be anyone you want to be with enough effort. You know, people I think don't give themselves enough credit because we fail far more times than we actually succeed, and that's just the way human nature is. And I strive to fail a million times more then I'm going to succeed, because I won't stop. And unfortunately, people like you and I that take what we're doing to a different level understand that this journey is just, it's filled with failure. It's filled with a bunch of ideas that you're going to have, and they're going to fall flat on its face, and then you're going to go, well, I guess I need to put that one into the closet for a little while. I never dismiss anything, so I always think all my ideas are great. But sometimes I need to hang the closet, you know, hang them up in the closet and go, okay. Oh, I got an idea. I need to take out the closet. But I fail consistently. I fail daily, but that's okay. You know, how we get over that failure, how we love ourselves after that failure. You know, people can be pretty hard on themselves, pretty ugly to themselves. So it's good that you are able to help people realize that, you know what, you can empathize with yourself, you can sympathize with yourself, you can acknowledge the fact that you've had some difficulties in certain areas, but you can get over them. So thank you for that. Thank you for being there for humanity. So I want to transition a little bit into some challenges as a life coach. So for any life coaches out there that are watching this, you're just getting started. Part of the premise of this video, this channel, is to help guide and share some experiences. So give me one positive, one negative experience starting out 25 years ago, or however long you want to go back, for other life coaches to kind of be able to draw from.
I think that's something that's really important that a lot of new life coaches forget about, is about setting boundaries for yourself as an individual. So you need to know what your personal limitations are of what you're willing to accept. And that has to do with the way clients treat you. It has to do with how much money you're going to receive. It has to do with how you treat yourself, also your limits to time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So to set up those boundaries were something that in the past I hadn't clarified. And that what it did was, even though it was helping all these other people remained aligned and balanced in so many ways, it disrupted my own alignment because I felt like I had to be serving all the time and I wasn't looking after myself properly. And that's why these breakages were starting to happen in my body. And that's why I was experiencing some of these enfermedades, like these illnesses, these sicknesses. And so I had to learn to set these boundaries so that it was really clear, and clear to also the people whom I work with, what I was willing to give and where I stop, what my limits are. Something positive that has come out of this, or something positive I can offer, is that I really love to share and see people open up and to flower. So originally, actually, I started studying architecture. That's actually my history in education. And so this idea of foundations is something that's really important. So when we think about the foundations that we have as an individual, I think that is really strong. Like I know that, for example, I'm hoping it's okay I disclose this, but you're studying psychology. So that foundation that you have will help you build your future, because that will also help to serve to set your own limits and your boundaries so that you can be ethical on where those standards are for what you've learned. And it doesn't have to do only with academics. Life experience is also really important, but also set those limits of what you've learned, because you don't want to overextend yourself. Because when you overextend what you're offering in an area where you don't really know, you're not really doing justice to the other individual. So to know that you have this foundation and you personally want to go to this limit and have this boundary, then you can make greater connections with your clients, because you can say, okay, I can take you this far and this is where my limit ends. I don't want to go this far because that's not where my area of expertise is. And this integrous relationship that you create with your client will have beneficial repercussions down the road, because then people will refer you, they'll come back to you, they'll also understand that you know how to give and how to receive, when to go and when to stop. And that's modeling behavior for everybody who's out there.
Absolutely, I agree. Ironically, there's a paper that I have to write this week, actually explicitly dealing with integrity and skill set as a therapist. So it blends right into this conversation. So Farah, how can people find you? I want people to see this and resonate with you. I often talk about people resonating with the right people. Everyone's not made for everyone. You know, your coaching style is different from my coaching style. And the people that resonate with me may not resonate with you, and vice versa. And so the people that are watching this, I want you to give this a try. I want you to go out and say, you know what, I like what she said. I really can relate to it. Something made me feel a certain way. Contact, just, you know, I'm not sure, do you offer a free initial session or a 20-minute talk or something?
Actually, I do. People can book a 30-minute free session with me where we can check and test and see if there is alignment. But more importantly, what I want to help you do is shift. And so I want to see if together in that 30 minutes, we can figure out where those shifts are supposed to happen in your life so you can get where you want to be. So to book a call with me, you can go into the Calendly link. So that's the https /calendly.com/Farah Fancy. And I know you're going to put the link up there of what my name is, and you can see it on the screen right now. So you can book that 30-minute call with me. You can also connect with me on Facebook, so you can see my professional speakers page, or you can get through me through the personal page. I believe I'm the only Farah Fancy that's on Facebook. You can go through and catch me on my website, which is www.farahfancy.com. Or, of course, if you want to know about my business experience and how I help organizations and institutions, community centers, and also associations, you can go into my LinkedIn. So that's also Farah Fancy. They're all the same. It's pretty easy to find me. And if you like to see nice pictures of travel and things like that, you can go into my Instagram account, because what I also help people do is when they're doing this coaching with me, in certain cases, they need to be challenged and they need to really put that into action of what they want to try to be their authentic self. And so I arrange retreats for people, usually VIP ones, very specialized, to go to a certain location so that people can really check and test and see with somebody there to back them up. So that's another place to get a hold of me.
Awesome. So there's absolutely zero reason why somebody that is watching this and they go, something about her, they can get a hold of you some way. I'm going to put all the links in the description, as well as you saw a couple links there. Any parting words, Farah?
I hope that everyone out there watching today finds their way to be fearless and flossom. And so when I say flossom, I believe that everybody is imperfect. Everyone has flaws, but we all can be awesome. So if we can be fearless and flossom and dare to be audaciously visible in the way we come to community and connecting with the other people who are out there.
Flossom and audaciously visible. Look at you. I love it. I'm resonating with you. I don't need a life coach, but that's okay. We're going to be friends forever. So I appreciate you coming on the show. I hope everyone else that's watching this appreciates the fact that you've given your time, some stories, some of your energy, some of your experience to them. I do hope that this is a good platform for them to find you. And that's part of the premise. The other premise of the show is for people watching this to be able to go, something about that life coach, something about that girl, that guy. I really want to get to know a little more about how they can assist me in my life journey. And you've done a great job. You're extremely articulate, extremely knowledgeable, and I just thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Okay. Unlimited fam, another video down. I hope everybody's having a great day whenever you're watching it. I hope you have a great evening, great morning, a great weekend, whatever it is, a great ... Tune in for more. Peace.
I gave you my heart.